Okay, looks like we're live. Just a couple minutes late. Sorry about that, everybody. A few technical difficulties here on a Thursday afternoon, but we are back in action here on RecTech Live, and we've got Mike and Chad from work here with us today to talk about geofencing for recruiting. So Mike and Chad, why don't you guys introduce yourself first and tell us what we're going to learn today?
Good to be here, guys. My name is Chad Fife, and I'm here with Mike Seidel. And I just joined work here, but it's an exciting time for the company. I have been in the talent assessment space, in the recruiting workforce flow space, and the career readiness market for the last 15 years, and have seen all types of job applicants, assessment tests, aptitude tests, and we're trying to make the recruiting workflow easy and simple. And today's topic about geofencing is really all about targeting. I'm gonna introduce the concept for a minute and then pass it to Mike. When I first got a job at Pearson, it was my first big corporate job about 12 years ago, big education tech company. I remember being a new product marketing manager and feeling a little stressed and anxious about my job until we targeted some industries. We focused on manufacturing and financial services, and we were going to deliver great personality tests, aptitude tests into those industries. Once I could find an audience and I knew how to target that, my job became easier. When I set goals myself personally, if you make the goal narrow enough and specific enough, you can achieve anything, right? That's what you tell yourself. If you can narrow that goal, you can achieve it. That forms the basis of geofencing. Who are we going to target with our ads? What is our hook going to be for those candidates? When you simplify and target and focus on specific locations, you're going to find the types of applicants and recruits that you want. And so that's kind of the foundation of the presentation. The second thing I'll say, which is why this is important, is passive candidates, right? Job boards capture the active candidates, but how do you find that great talent that is working, is at competitor locations, is going to school? You can do that through geofencing. Commuting, driving to work a certain way, eat every day, tag their phones, send them a message, serve a message on their mobile, a certain ad. That is what geofencing can do. It's a powerful concept. And Mike, he's an expert in it. I joined work here. We're in growth mode. It's an exciting time to be here, and forward to more of the presentation.
Yeah, Chad, welcome to the industry. Welcome to work here, I guess.
Yeah.
One quick question for you before we get started is, what surprised you about the company so far since you've been there?
Good question. Probably just how many companies have great background screening and processes for the right flow of candidates, but not enough on the top of the funnel. I mean, I'm a marketer by trade and a business builder. I've built some assessment companies. We work at the top of the funnel, a sourcing solution. And I just don't see enough creative sourcing solutions, not called LinkedIn, in the market. So.
Gotcha. Well, let's we'll get ready for that. Let me just give a quick couple show notes here to the audience. First of all, thanks for joining us today again today. Quick shout out to the live people. We got Nadja, Brian Douglas is here. I see Dominic, Lindsay, Michael Neufeld, Crystal. Hey, Crystal, good to see you again. Matt Wood, Corey, Kayla, Lisa, Keith, and Lindsay. Welcome all to the show. If you're a first-time viewer, glad to have you. And if you are a regular, welcome back overall. Hey guys. Again, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat or put them in the Ask a Question box. And just a couple reminders for the next shows. Had to push back Alio from next week until the week after. So that's going to now happen on July 9th at 1 p.m. That will be a Tuesday. A little bit of a change. What Alio has learned from 15 million candidate conversations. So it's going to be a pretty interesting discussion, I think, around what they've learned off their chatbot, and diving into a lot of those numbers there, talking about conversion metrics, the number one reason for interviews not happening. So be ready. They say be ready to be surprised, but most importantly, be ready to become a better talent acquisition professional through candidate engagement data. So stay tuned for that on July 9th. And a few days later, on July 11th, I'm going to talk to the folks at Zoho Recruit. They're an applicant tracking system, kind of on the SMB side of things, and we'll get a demo of their product overall and see what that's all about. So it's coming up on July 9th and 11th, again at RecTechLive.com. All right, so let's bring Mike on and get the slides here going, and we'll get into geofencing for recruiting.
Well, I hope everybody's having an absolutely great day today. Here, I'm going to hit the screen share button here and see if we can get that to go.
And you guys are out in Indianapolis, right?
Podcast screen share, my slide showing okay?
Yep, there we go.
All right.
All right.
So just a quick agenda for the rest of the webcast. You know, we'll cover just a touch on work here, talk a lot about what is geofencing and how we can use it to target candidates, talk about what tactics are working, go through a campaign that we actually did and what kind of results it got. And then I'll share with everybody 3 mistakes that we've all really learned the hard way. We've made them all probably multiple times, and hopefully everybody on the webcast can learn to avoid them. So I'm Mike Seidel. I'm one of the co-founders here at Work Here. Been doing work here for about 4 years. Before I did this, I worked with an organization called Direct Employers, helped build the National Labor Exchange. And then prior to that, I owned a digital agency for about 10 years. And there's a few of our customers here at Work Here. We've been fortunate to sign some pretty big brands early on, and you know, hopefully that trend continues. What we do is all about location, and we'll get more and more. One of our really prime tactics we use to reach people by location. But the whole idea with Work Here is, you know, we find people hyperlocal talent using location first, and drive that into a chat team and engage with talent as fast as we possibly can. So I'll just go ahead and jump right in. Why would you want a geofence? And so first off, before we kind of answer that question, I want to just point out there's a big difference between geotargeting and geofencing. And I know, Chris, you've seen geotargeted things out there in the market for years and years.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's really based on technology that targets my IP address. So they try to take a big database of IP addresses and go, this is where those IP addresses are located at. It works kind of okay. It gets you at least to a metro area, maybe a zip code, and it doesn't track movement. And so really the biggest thing that happened with geofencing, and a lot of this technology was made possible with, you know, modern smartphones with GPS chips. Now we can track mobile device and track it as it moves. And so we can draw shapes on a map and literally target people, you know, by the exact location they're in. Those areas can be as small as 3 meters square. So really think the size of a small room or a small office. We can target an area that small. When a phone moves into that geofence, we actually can get an anonymized ID on the phone that allows us to advertise to that phone. So these geofences are really powerful in that we can go in and target competitors, we can target routes, and then we can track the movement of people. And it makes it really easy to track people that just happen to work in a building or work, you know, go pick up a vehicle when they check in at work in the morning. We couldn't do that with old style geotargeting. Just doesn't do it.
What kind of like when you target like a building per se, like how many people in that building will see your ads? Do you have a way of telling that?
It really depends on how we do the campaign. There are some methods we can use to filter out people that appear in the geofence multiple times. There's also situations where what we do is go in and maybe target the back lot. So we've done a lot of work with you know, home service companies that maybe have a parking lot in the back where everybody comes in the morning and picks up their van and then goes to the job site. We're able to target just the back of the back lot of the building and target the people that are most likely to be employees.
Okay.
So, you know, next question on geofencing is, you know, what do the ads look like? Where do they go? And the answer is on a mobile device, if it has ads in it, we can show the ads there. We can use different formats. We can use video, banners, and HTML. And all of these things are things that really show up in everything that person's going to be using on their mobile device. So they might see ads in Facebook, they might see an ad in a game, could be a productivity app, but we're able to get ads in front of people multiple times. So they hit that geofence, and then we're able to advertise to them for a period of time after they hit that geofence. That could be as long as a year or as little as a few days. So here's the big question is, why would you want to do this? Well, you can target the candidates who matter. And we're able to target competitor locations and high traffic retail zones, showrooms and storefronts. We're able to actually target where billboards are and actually advertise to people that saw the billboard. We can target homes and neighborhoods and commuters and schools. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to target job seekers where they might be. Probably the most important reason, though, is we can target passive candidates before the competition gets there. I think that's something, Chris, that really is important about geofencing. This is a strategy that really works well to get passive candidates when they're at work, and that's really the big thing for work here. A lot of times when we're asked to go source candidates for a company, they're not looking for people that they you have to wait around. They're looking for people that actually have jobs or actually are out there because maybe they just don't have candidates that are active. There's not that much available. And this gets us a way to go access a whole different group of people, especially when most companies are really, sourcing off of LinkedIn and that sort of thing. This really does build a different kind of candidate flow. We're also able to reach people who live near locations that you want to staff. So, two things. When we started work here, we kind of started on the whole premise that location was super important. And what we found out, Pew did some research. They said people who live within 5 miles of work are 50% less likely to turn over. Our own research corroborated that. And then we found out that 25% of workers have quit their jobs because their commute was bad. And so if you recruit people who live close to work, they're less likely to turn over, and it really does work. The other reason you might want to geofence is you can reach the people that live with the candidate. And this, I think, is probably one of the most underrated parts of geofencing. When you're able to advertise to all the people that live in a household, you kind of get the ear of the spouse or significant other. If there's a live-in parent, you get their attention. And what happens is a different discussion at the dinner table. Hey, Dad, you could be making $5 an hour more. Or, hey, Mom, they're hiring over here and they're paying better. Or maybe it's about insurance, but whatever it is, we're able to get that conversation going because we're able to reach everybody in the home.
Okay.
So a lot of people wonder what the ads look like, and I thought we just showed just a quick look at what some of these kind of geofenced ads look like. These are all ones that are branded with work here. We do a lot of the advertising work we do with our brand. Sometimes we even do unbranded. And sometimes we use the employer's brand, just depending on what the response of the candidate is. We actually use an AI that tests all of these ads. So when we go out the first week, by the end of the first week, we know what ads work, which formats work, and we even know which apps people are actually responding in. And we know how effective whatever we land these people on is. So we can look at it and go, at the end of the week, automatically optimize down to, these 3 ad creatives work really well on these 16 different mobile apps. And we're able to really optimize the spend on things that work instead of spending money on things that don't.
Yeah. Mike, tell me a couple of takeaways from that. What, generally speaking, when it comes to ads like this, give a couple of tips there for the audience as far as what they should be doing.
Well, 2 things really come to mind on that. It's a really good question. But the first thing that comes to mind is that you really need to concentrate on messages that will get people to click and convert. So instead of trying to talk about all the requirements on your job, really sell people on that next action. You'll see in a lot of these ads, we use apply now, start now, chat with us, learn more. A lot of the calls to action are really simple because what's going to happen when somebody clicks on that is they're going to hit, what amounts to a landing page that may be a quick apply. It may be a quick apply followed with chat. But what we want people to do is click and then very quickly engage with whatever happens next. So, and if you look at a lot of the content in these ads, they're really simple. you could be making money with your car and your schedule. We'll talk about the one that says you could earn $5 an hour more in manufacturing in a minute. That campaign was really successful, but a lot of these are really, really simple compared to what most of us try to do in job post ads.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a study just came out. It was yesterday from the MRI network talking about how only 30% of companies have a mobile-friendly apply process. And you talked about the quick apply there. I think that's so important today, particularly for a lot of these entry-level blue-collar jobs, that you can't make them do a long apply process on a phone, right? What kind of stuff have you learned around that?
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think that's one of the mistakes that we made a lot early on when we started doing a lot of geofencing, is that we were really trying to take a classic job board / career site kind of approach to, click on the ad, land there. And it just didn't work very well. And we had to make some changes to that. But it's really important to engage quickly off of these ads. So kind of moving forward, like there's a few tactics that I'd like to share with everybody. Geofencing is different. It's not like running, if I'm going to go buy ads on, all the job boards we all know and love. It's pretty simple. I just take my job posts and look there, and maybe I get some premium placement or, do some other little things to bump things up to the top. But when it comes to these kind of ads, there's a whole world of different tactics we can use to identify and surface who we're targeting, and then pick out what content we send to them. So I thought, it might be interesting to everybody to kind of hear what some of the tactics are that we use in geofencing, and it might really help people understand how they can apply that to their recruiting problems. So the first tactic that we use a lot at work here is redlining, the HR kind. It's an advertising term, not an HR term. But redlining really comes from drawing red lines on a map and measuring who crosses those lines. And so we use redlining a lot when we're targeting commuters by route and destination. We do quite a bit of recruiting of CDL drivers and sourcing of CDL drivers. And redlining has become a go-to tactic for us, where we're picking maybe a terminal that a lot of truckers pull their truck up to, and maybe putting some lines on the map on places they go to. That's redlining. It's extremely powerful for identifying commuters, and it's perfect if you've got a facility that's right by the highway. Maybe it's at an exit and you want to go who's driving from 2 exits to the north and 2 exits to the south and going right by our place on the way to work. It's a great way to target those commuters. Showrooming is another tactic we see a lot of, and this is especially relevant if you've got a lot of traffic, a lot of retail traffic going into your locations. The whole idea is geofence your own store and then turn customers into candidates by giving them a job opportunity. And it's tremendously and surprisingly effective for retail and those kind of service businesses that just have a lot of traffic that roll through the parking lot.
So you walk in and you see a now hiring sign on the phone.
It's kind of that idea, except I think it's a little better because we can see the now hiring sign when they sit down to, maybe they're getting their tires changed or something like that, and they go sit down in the lobby. They're able to go look at their phone and go, oh, they're hiring here. So yeah, right in the store. But I think the most powerful part of geofencing is the fact that we're retargeting people after they visit. So for a period of maybe 30 days, we might periodically be showing that same ad to the person that came into the store. And it's kind of serves as a reminder that we're hiring. And after a period of time, we see the response rate go up. It takes 11, 12 impressions sometimes to get somebody to click. But when they do, they tend to be pretty motivated. Cool. So my favorite tactic, and I think pretty much everybody who I've ever worked with on geofencing, is conquesting. And I don't know who came up with the term conquesting, but hats off to him for the name of the tactic.
That's certainly not an HR term.
Maybe the Game of Thrones?
Something. But what this is where we're going to go out and we're going to geofence. We're going to geofence our competitors, or maybe we're going to geofence feeder industries. Maybe we know a source of talent, a company that has people they're paying lower and make really good entry-level people for us. What we're doing is literally geofencing our competitors. We might geofence part of their building, or maybe we target the employee parking lot and target just the people that are parking their cars there and going into the building. But with conquesting, that lets us get our ad in front of people that actually are employed and working at a competitor. It's very effective. It gets the word to the right people. And the best part with geofencing, the thing I like about it the most is that when I geofence a facility like that, I don't have to advertise the entire metro area just to get to the 200 people that work in the call center I want to target. I can target just those 200 people, and then I can show these people enough times that they're going to know for sure we got a better offer for them. Addressable residential is new about a year and a half ago, and this is really great if you have a CRM full of contacts, or maybe you've bought some lists of licensed professionals, but you're able to actually convert that list into geofences and target people at home. This allows us to reach spouses, significant others, live-in moms, sometimes the older kids. We'll see the ads and tell people, you could be making $2, $3 an hour more at this other company. Or, hey, Dad, I know you love your job as the CFO, but you're driving 45 minutes and there's a CFO job that's like 15 miles or 5 miles down the street. Those are all things we can do with addressable residential. If you're spending money on billboards or big display ads, geofencing around the billboards is a really effective way to give people a way to apply. I've never seen somebody be able to actually apply to a billboard, but if we geofence them, we can show them the ad when they get home and give them a chance to apply.
Yep.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Fun story. A couple of weeks ago, I've only been here a month at work here, but a couple of weeks ago, we were talking to a client, and there's a pretty famous concert event venue, 15 miles from here. And so we were talking about, what type of concert we would want to tag phones on. And we just had some fun laughter around, would it be a Taylor Swift concert or Metallica? It's you kind of laugh at that, but you think about the types of people that would attend certain events, and you've got a captive audience to, tag their phones and show them ads. In this case, it was someone that's a manufacturing facility that made medical and commercial refrigerators. So at the end, I said, why don't we choose Metallica? I think that'd be a good choice. So.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So the final tactic we use a lot in recruitment with geofencing is conversion zones. And so one of the problems I think everybody in recruitment marketing has is, how do we measure the foot traffic that all these digital ads we're doing actually create? And in conversion zones, where we geofence the facilities where you're going to have people come in and interview, and we actually can tag their phone and see if they showed up. So in a lot of cases, a lot of the value that comes out of a geofence campaign is identifying the 55 people that showed up for an interview and going, okay, not only did we get this many applies online, but we also know for sure that 55 of the people that we hit with these ads actually showed up. And it can really be an eye opener, because it's surprising how effective digital is in driving physical traffic. It's just the way it works these days.
Yeah.
So here, I said earlier we'd go through a campaign, and this is a campaign that we did here at work here for a manufacturer that was looking for welders and assemblers. The strategy we used was conquesting. So we went out and targeted other warehouses, other manufacturing facilities, home improvement retail, logistics hubs. And what we really tried to do is offer a better opportunity to people that were hit with these ads. And the engagement was really, we used our chat team here at work here to drive them home. But, if you look in the left here, you're going to see that, you could earn $5 an hour more in manufacturing. We tried probably 28 different creatives on this. And just a little background on this manufacturer is located in an area where there's 16 other manufacturing facilities that are within about a 2 square mile area. So pretty dense manufacturing. And most of the other manufacturers were these big, huge corporation-owned big corporation-owned facilities where they would lay people off on the drop of a hat, and then they try to bring them back 2 weeks later. And a lot of the people that had been through that wanted to work for an employer that maybe treated them a little better. And so this little line that says get free training at a family-owned business was really key to making it work. That ad performed half as well without that little get free training at a family-owned business. The result of this campaign This wasn't a huge, national campaign or anything like that, but it's pretty effective for a one facility campaign. We had 421 candidates that engaged with this. We had 96 qualified candidates that got delivered to the manufacturer from this. They made 33 hires. And the most exciting part of this was what that success zone proved to us. We had 54 people that showed up at the HR office that had seen these ads, and 34 of them came from an employer that was literally next door.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it really was. And the big thing though was the success zone part of it really provided the validation to that employer that, hey, this thing's really working well. And the 54 people, as they went and asked, how did you find out about us, to the people they had hired us, 33, quite a few of the 33 came, were ones that showed up in that 54 number. So we kind of were really excited about it because, like, look at this. Here's a good example of what the power of doing a conquesting campaign. So anyhow, along the route to kind of getting where work here is with geofencing, we've made a lot of mistakes, and I don't know, I don't always like sharing mistakes, but I think a lot of times they're the most powerful learning we get. I think I actually carry around, if I take the case off my phone, there's a little fortune cookie in there that says failure is the mother of all success. And I occasionally have to remind myself of that because I make more than my share of mistakes. So for work here, we got into doing this really about 2 years ago. We really hit geofencing and really have been highly, I would say, focused on that for the last 18 months. And for a while, our biggest problem was that we weren't fast enough engaging with job seekers that were clicking on the ads. We were taking kind of a traditional quick apply and job board kind of approach to how to convert the traffic coming in off these ads. And so what would happen is somebody would click and then they would get hit with a list of jobs to pick from, and that didn't work very well. Then we kind of moved to, okay, let's try and apply, and we had way too many fields in there, so we had to go to a quick apply. That got better, and then we've kind of got to the point now where it's a kind of a quick apply that drops into chat model, because what we found is a lot of times people that are engaging off of these ads, well, I'll give you an example. We had one guy that came in who was literally in the bathroom looking for a job, and the window for engaging with that guy was not 20 minutes.
No.
And so a lot of this stuff, we just, was kind of having to rethink the whole model and like, what are we doing that can go really quickly and can get people to where they're talking to a person as fast as we can. And that's really made a big difference. So what we found was that employers that engage within 2 hours are 65% more likely to make a hire of a candidate. And then we found internally that our conversion rate starts dropping at 94 seconds. So if somebody clicks on that ad and isn't talking to a person within 94 seconds, we actually see a change in the conversion rate. So speed is really, really important. Another big mistake that we made early on with this was landing traffic on career sites. And I know this is probably sacrilege to a lot of us, and I know a lot of us are really, really invested in our career sites and some really nice ones out there. But in the case of these ads, when I've got somebody that maybe is clicking on an ad and has 5 minutes before they have to get back to their desk, a lot of times our career sites are just too much. There's videos, there's all kinds of different things about culture and all that, which is great, and we want people to see that. But I think over the, in a very fast interaction, when you have too much distraction in the long application process and no way to talk to a person, it's really, really hard for a job seeker with 5 minutes to actually get into the pipeline for you. And so, really what we found is landing people onto a landing page or as close to a quick apply, that works a lot better than trying to land somebody just on your career site. If you're going from ad to career site and then they've got to sort out and find a job and all of that stuff, it doesn't work very well.
Yep.
So
For a quick apply, Mike, what does that mean to you? What fields are there?
Well, quick apply is usually, I would say 5 fields or shorter. We're really just collecting the contact info and maybe asking one screening question. So name, first name, last name, email address, mobile phone number, maybe a screener question or two. Do you have your CDL? That kind of thing. no more than that. Be very, very brief without apply. Get enough info that you can re-engage with that candidate. And the faster you re-engage, the more likely you are to really get the candidate to actually apply and go through the hiring process.
Cool.
So another mistake we see, and I think, Chris, you can jump in on this one because this is kind of, if the job seeker black hole is the #1 bad experience in recruitment, the multiple application experience is probably the second worst one out there. But we see a lot of times, especially with employers that would ask us, hey, could you hook your ads up to a landing page on a job board? What would happen is that person would end up having to apply on a job board, apply again on the career site. And then once they got done with that little quick apply on the career site, they got dropped into a job on the ATS where they were asked to do a full apply. And that experience, when somebody has got a 5-minute attention span, maybe, that's not going to work real well. And so what we found is really try to get people as close as you can to the quick apply, and don't ask them to apply again and again and again.
Yeah, it sounds like employers need like a full-time person just manning the chat there on their ATS these days, just to pull the job seeker along. You know.
Well, I think as time goes on, the conversational recruiting is really going to be the thing. It is right. It's becoming that right now. But what we've learned here at work here is most employers aren't staffed to be able to man chat to be highly responsive. They can do it in batches, but too many meetings, too many things going on during the day to be a good chat agent. And so at work here, we actually started offering that as a service to our employers, because a lot of them, they try really hard. They buy lots of technology. And then at the end of the day, they wouldn't have, enough people online at 8 p.m. when everybody was clicking on the ads to respond. And so we really think that, having a really good answer for live human chat is important. That brings up a really interesting thing, which is chatbots. And we do use some chatbots in our stack on our live chat team. We use a chatbot when we're not around. We use a chatbot maybe to start a conversation and to ask some questions. But we learned really quickly with Geofence ads that the chatbot thing didn't work nearly as well as a live person did, because the job seekers could just smell it out. They would get in there and they'd say, my mom has cancer. I really need to get a job right now. Can you help me? And the chatbot would go, all right, woohoo, let's go. And, we put interns on it, and the intern with the same kind of question, the answer that they would have was, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I can definitely help you. And we just found that a lot of the chatbot tech isn't ready for like a general conversation yet. It's going to get there one day. But right now we found that by putting, like real people on, it really made a difference. We actually moved from, the interns doing it to professional chat agents, and that improved the effectiveness of that even more. So I think you're really onto something, Chris, when you talk about people, employers really need to think about, how quickly they can engage on chat. It's important.
Yeah, I think to me, a job of the future here is a chatbot recruiter on your staff, whose only job is to basically interact digitally with people on your ATS that are, basically ready to apply. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it really is. The other thing we see a lot of employers are doing chat after the application. They're waiting for the apply to come in. And what we found at work here is we get an awful lot of people that click on our ads that don't know enough about what they're applying for to want to apply yet. Yeah. And so a lot of times they have questions that they want answered, and they're the most random things. It's very rarely is it just how much does this pay? It's, do you have some weird hours available, or can I get Tuesdays off? And if they they ask those kind of questions, and we're able to give them the answer on it, a lot of them will choose to apply. If we wait till after the application, they're never going to fill in the application.
Yeah. Cool.
So I guess, from here, that's what I had to share with everybody today. If there's questions, I've got Chad here and I'm here. We'd love to answer them. Chris is, I think, one of the experts, I'd say one of the global experts out there in recruitment technology. So ask away.
All right. What's the cost of this, Mike? Give me a sense of what a typical campaign might cost an employer overall and how you charge for that.
Okay. So typically it just, the way we do it is we try to do it on a per candidate delivered model. So That could be as low in some cases as $15, $20 for I need somebody that's just going to show up on time, and I don't have a lot of other requirements. It could be really inexpensive. Then if you're looking for, maybe you're looking for a CDL driver with 3 or 4 endorsements, that may be a lot more expensive. And it really just comes down to, how big is the market, and, how hard is it to get their attention. So it does matter what the job is, what it costs. Does that give you a good sense for that? I mean, we have customers that are, as little as a few $100s a month to customers that are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yep. And who are some of your customers? Give me a sense of who you're working with today.
Well, we, I can go back to that first slide, but one of our very first customers was FedEx, and they've been with us from the beginning. We work with companies like it's everything from Carvana. There's Coastal Transport, Senior One Care, Hancock Hospital. We work with probably 54 different companies at the moment, and it's been a really fun month. And we are adding nearly 10, 15 new customers a month over the last 2.
Gotcha. Okay.
Going fast.
Yeah, definitely. And team's growing there in Indy. Indy seems to be a pretty big little like Midwest tech hub these days.
It's getting there. We've been really fortunate. A couple things nobody knows about Indy. One is that the Monster.com actually started here in Indianapolis and had to move to Boston to get funding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so so there's a really deep HR tech heritage here in Indy. You'll be seeing quite a few. I think there's probably 12 other HR tech startups that are out of Indy. And I think you're right, Chris. This is becoming at least a regional hub. We've got a long way to go to catch up with Silicon Valley, though.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, I think we're pretty good here, guys. No questions yet in the chat. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Giving us a quick recap here on geofencing for recruiting. It's pretty cool. I mean, I think this should be part of every company's overall digital recruiting strategy overall, especially if you can target your competitors and these fences here. And that success story you had is a pretty powerful one to talk to customers about. If you can get 33 hires out of one campaign like that, that's it's pretty much unheard of with other types of.
Well, Chris, I'll tell you on that one, not all campaigns turn out as good as that one did, but I mean, I wish if they all turned out like that, I'd be extremely happy. But they do tend to work very, very well, especially when we take the time to understand where we're advertising, and that's really the key, is that understanding of where. If you understand what's around, you can build some tremendously effective campaigns. Yep.
We do have one question here from Keith. Do you charge per candidate that applies through the ad?
That's typically how we do it, is by the candidate that applies.
Lead gen for them, right?
Yeah, we kind of do the lead gen part of it and some light qualifying. I wouldn't, I would say where we kind of fit is kind of a sourcing tool.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, all right, guys.
Did I answer the question? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Mike and Chad from workhere.com, appreciate the time today. And again, everyone, thanks for joining us. July 9th is the next show with Alio, the chatbot vendor, diving into some of their data. So stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys in July. All right, Mike and Chad, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Replay will be available right after this. Use the same link, and you can come back and watch it again. I'll also post it up on our Facebook and YouTube channels as well if you want to follow us on there. We're out.